Mega just asked me to kind of give you a quick overview, just the features of the app, I guess, to kind of help out for new clients moving over questions they have. Basically, I first built the app. We had our own online store, and we had it was close to 300,000 orders. And we tried to do it. We hired some developers, and it probably took 3 to 4 months, and a lot of re-imports, and the data still wasn't right. So I used all the knowledge that I gained from those months of kind of building it up to try to make like a universal app, I guess, for most merchants to do the same thing. So the main features of the app, I'll kind of pull up our App Store listing. It's basically you just upload a CSV file, so it's pretty universal for most stores. You map the columns, import the orders. One of the features that I liked was the best-selling products. So if they had a history in another store, they could right away, as long as the merchant SKU matched, it would automatically sort collections by bestseller because we would have the order history to back up the data. And then the other important feature was it automatically created customer accounts. And we just figured out last week how to create an account with a password. For a lot of merchants have been asking if they could import their existing passwords. I guess they have them in unencrypted files, so it works out pretty well. Well, I could pull up the app real quick, and I could show you a quick overview of just like a fairly basic import. We've probably had maybe 400 clients so far. Here you could, most clients just do a straight CSV, but we also added some options where you could upload from a URL or from an FTP location. And then from there you can schedule it. This was meant more for stores that want to do like ongoing import, maybe from eBay or something. So I just kind of have them put it in like some kind of shared folder, like a Dropbox or something. That usually works fine for them. So we'll do the CSV method today. The order goes in, and the first step they'll ask you which row is your main column for the field names. So for this, we'll just choose that. Save. And then the presets are basically when you map each field, each file will be different. So you kind of want to save it per merchant, and then sometimes they'll want to modify the data or upload orders from different places. It could be eBay, Amazon, phone orders. So it's kind of nice just to have a safe preset so they don't have to remap it each time. So basically, as you would get into this, all this would be blank. I just kind of filled it in just for time's sake for the call. But you select the drop down, and then basically every column will be the spreadsheet columns. So you just really need to match it up, and in these we use the Shopify field names, and we did our best to give an explanation. We used most of Shopify's verbiage for the description of each field. So here's just the basic order data. It's the order number, the date, the totals, subtotals. Down here I can go into a little bit more later. This is more for creating a customer account. So you just map the password field. You click import customers, and this would be if you wanted to send them a welcome email. On the next page is just all the customer address information. Pretty standard here. The only confusion I have with some merchants, it's probably on my end, I need to fix the interface. This is actually either or, so it could be the country as in the United States, or it could be country code as just US. First name and last name, that's if they have it separate. In this file, we just have it all in one column, so it's billing. I usually recommend to check these boxes. It just helps avoid errors, and it'll just copy over the address if one's missing on either side. And the next step, this is all line items. For 99% of files where each row is its own line item, you would just use this top section. but I do have some merchants, like I believe there's WooCommerce, that puts the line items in different columns. So for those, you would just map them here. So it would be line item SKU 1, and then you could add another set and be line item SKU 2, and so on. And then the last page is just the shipping lines and coupon information. So this is shipping charges, shipping method, the discount amount and the code, the type. We normally don't use because it calculates it automatically, but it should be if they had it in their file. And then down here we just show a very small preview. It's really just in case you forget what a field name is called or what's in it, just to kind of look as you're mapping. And then the last step is you just click complete. It'll show you a small preview. For this example, the billing address was missing, so the software will fill this in, but when the order imports, it'll use all this information. So you can see a second example. This person has everything, so everything matches up. And then it shows you about 5 orders just to give you an idea of how the data should look. And then you just click Send to Shopify. And then up here, it'll wait in the queue for a few seconds depending on how large the file. And it'll just kind of run through, give you a quick status. So show done is complete, and our Sent to Shopify errors or just, it could be missing information. And then pending is obviously it's just still processing. Once it's complete, you get to this orders page and just click refresh. And I'll kind of give you a status of the import. So any order that's done, it's actually a link right here. You can click this. And basically it will show you all the information for the order. And the only confusing thing that I get a lot of questions for, and maybe this could be a question for you guys at the end of the call, is after the new timeline feature, it shows the order as imported as today. So say just now, even though the actual order date is correct as November 27th. So if I went in here, you could see that all the dates are correct. They come in as archived. In this example, I choose everything as paid and fulfilled. It's probably what most merchants use just because it's mostly for historical orders. And you can see here, to go to customers, all the accounts are populated. It'll show the last orders, the total spent. So you can see here, this is a good example of showing what happens when a SKU matches. So right here, as long as the variant SKU matches in the file with the product that's already in the Shopify store, the picture will come in, the link will show, and that's where you can kind of use it for sorting and collection. And if you go back to the app, you can click each order, just click on kind of any column, it's a link. And this will say line items must have at least one line item. So I know in this example that I purposely left out the title. So what happens whenever any line item field is missing? It'll basically clear out the whole line item. So you kind of have to go in there and refill in the data. And I can show you some more examples. So I'm assuming that Shopify on the import verifies whether the zip code is valid to the state. So in this example, I made the zip code a New York zip code, even though it's a Michigan address. So from here, you can kind of just fix them on the fly. You just click Edit. You'll see all the fields here. And I'll just copy it over as Michigan. After that, you'll just scroll down to the very bottom, click Save. And then you click this little orange cloud icon, which imports the order into Shopify. So as long as there's no more errors, it'll be green. Otherwise, there'll display whatever errors are left, and you can click it, and you can kind of see the order came in, correct zip code here, billing is the same as shipping. Here's an example of just a basic address one is missing. So from here, you just kind of fill it in. Save. The order as in now. And then let's, in some examples, a merchant might do an import, realize that they might have mismapped something or they forgot some information and they want to redo it. In that case, you just kind of select all the orders, click delete selected. Delete orders on Shopify too will actually remove them from the store. So if you click that, you'll see they're in a pending delete status. Kind of refresh and they go away. I'll just wipe them all out, so I'll just do all 55 orders. You can see all the pending deletes. Basically, you just keep clicking refresh. This number should go down. And then you can see in the store, all the orders are wiped out. So from there, I would say it's a clean slate, except the customer still exists, except the total spent gets wiped out. So I usually just tell people if they want to redo everything, they could delete the customers manually. And then I'll show you some common errors that I see a lot. If you go to online store and checkout, if you go to settings, checkout, right here, phone number. A lot of merchants set it to required, so they end up getting a lot of errors where the phone number is missing. So I usually just advise them to set this to optional just during the import, and then just change it back. And then also here, when you go to settings, you definitely want to make sure to turn off merchant notifications. Otherwise, the merchant will get an email for every order that comes in. Customers will never receive an email since they're all archived orders. And then I'll show you just a couple more features of the app. This is our customer invite feature. So basically, it'll just calculate how many customers exist at the time, how many have an account, and how many you sent an invite to. So it's pretty basic. It's just a subject line. It kind of like fills in the customer data, and they could just do some basic text editing. From there, you just do next, and it pre-fills the amount that is pending to send, but the customer can kind of choose however many they choose. And we've just priced it at 1 cent per email. These are live emails, so I don't want to send them. And we could try another import. Basically, I just browse for another CSV file. This is the feature that we have if you need to merge a file. I've seen a few merchants where they might have their customer data in one file and then the line items ordered in another file. So basically, you would click this link and select the second file. And then all you do is choose the 2 unique columns. So in most cases, it's going to be order number. And as long as they both match up, then the app will automatically combine the information. And I'll show you kind of what happens if you try to upload orders that already exist. Or I'm going to let these run through. This is a file I stuck in a few more errors to help explain better just a lot of questions that I get that are usually the same. So here's the order report again. Pretty much every order up here is where you want to be looking. We try to use the same error messages that get returned back from Shopify. Your email is invalid. This is one where if the email domain is wrong or doesn't exist any longer, it actually will come back with an error. So in these situations, it's kind of difficult to give the customers any specific advice because other than maybe making up a dummy email address, but if the domain doesn't work, it's never really going to go in. And here's our billing. We basically price it two different ways. The reason for that is one is for merchants that are just looking to do it one time. They're just coming over from another platform and they want to import all their orders kind of like just in one batch. The prepaid credits are more for ongoing imports, just merchants that import from other marketplaces, and they might be doing maybe a couple to a couple hundred every month, but over the course of a year. So these expire in about 14 days. We're pretty flexible. If a merchant just is having trouble with something, we don't extend the limit. It's more just to prevent abuse of people using it long term. So we mostly price it in ranges. And then we just listed this. It's just a basic setup and import service. This is assuming that the CSV file is like pretty complete. It doesn't need much work. I noticed that with the support, a lot of it is just it's a lot of back and forth where in most cases I could probably just do everything right within an hour or so and just do it right the first time. So I'm hoping it should be a little bit easier on the support end of things. If you ever go to tasks, this is more for longer imports when they're running. If you realize it's a mistake, you could pause it. You could resume it right away. And if you go to dashboard, we kind of show an activity list of everything that happened. It kind of helps if you're doing a lot of re-imports and you just want to get an idea of what happened when and with what file. Here, if you go to files, you can see every file that you've imported into the app. If you click into the file, it'll show you like a quick preview of the statuses. And right here, you would download incorrect orders. And now it basically just gives you a report of every order that came back with an error and the reason why. It's kind of convenient because it keeps the order file in the same format, so you really just kind of do a batch fix and re-upload, and that's about it. And then here, let's say I wanted to try to re-import the same orders twice. So I would use the same file that we tried earlier. They'll show you here every error message. This is just a preview again. You see up here they're all coming in as errors, and then if you do a quick refresh, they'll show as duplicates. That's kind of our batch way of making sure merchants don't import orders with the same number. The app won't allow them the same number to pass through either way, but it's just a good way of letting them know that, hey, this already exists in your store. You kind of click the link. I'll show them which order, and they could kind of verify it themselves. For merchants that have overlapping numbers, I usually just say add a prefix or a suffix to the order just to make it unique. Now I'll kind of just go over for a couple minutes just some new features that we're hoping to roll out with sometime before the end of the summer. We've been getting a lot of requests to import live orders. So basically, they would just import as unarchived. All of the line items would be shippable. They'd be passed over to accounting applications, all the shipping applications. The last step that we're just trying to figure out right now is the inventory management side of things. Everyone seems to do it a little differently, so we're doing our best to make it universal, kind of like a good interface that shouldn't be too confusing.